welcome back to Stasis Geek. It's comedy recommendations. Now, this has been fun because I've watched and had a little bit of a laugh whilst doing it. But I had 32 originally. I was like, wow, that's the biggest list. Now, this was the biggest list. And then to whittle it down to 10, I could have just done the 32. So I might have some honourable mentions because some were obvious. Now, I do have the obvious ones, but then I don't. Because my earliest one from, I suppose, in time is the 1930s. Got a couple. Then the latest one is from the 90s, and that's it. I was like, wow. And I was like, then I went through my 32. There's nothing newish, probably in the last 20 years. Nothing there. Absolutely. And I was like, wow, comedy's not that good anymore. So, yeah. But let's get with it. Now, the first one. This is, I suppose you would call it a trilogy, but there's been other movies and TV shows based around it. The first two isn't a comedy. There's comedy moments in it, but I wouldn't put them in the comedy. Now, this one is, because it's hilarious. It's silly. It's not spoofy, but I suppose it is back off the other two. And it's a bit dark. And that is Army of Darkness. Bruce Campbell. Gotta love him. He's in a few other genres. I had more comedies in there. The greatest B actor of all time. And, of course, Sam Raimi. So, it follows on from Evil Dead 2 very well with the portal. And the Necronomicons. Yeah, and we go back into, I couldn't say it's medieval England. It's a medieval period. That's all you got to be, because it's so not. And you have to take that as what it is because it's such a comedy element. Literally, he doubles himself in this. Bad Ash. And yeah, so if you've not seen it, go and watch the first two. And then, yeah, come on to this because it will just open up. And then you can go Ash versus the Evil Dead TV show. Awesome. But that is more kind of to this, I suppose, but this is great dark comedy. Don't take yourself seriously. If you know what a boomstick is, you've watched this movie, because this is great. It's let's fight some deadites, medieval, with a chainsaw and a shotgun, and do it in the most silly, stupidest way you can think of. It's brilliant. When the actual Army of Darkness rise, it just gets the music in it. It's brilliant. The love interest, it gets a bit odd and weird. It's brilliant. Comes on, I'm watching this because you can just have a bit of fun. It doesn't take itself serious. That is the best thing about that. We're doing stuff about the kind of The Walking Dead, for deadites, but not. And we've just set a guy back. He chopped off his own hand. Spoilers. And he's attached a chainsaw to it. He's got a shotgun that he's going to call a boomstick. And he's going to be in medieval somewhere. I don't want to call it England because it's like, yeah, they've got some kind of accents there. But that's it. But, love this. I love this. Especially off the back of 2. It's brilliant. Now, so the second one is probably the most obvious. It's probably in everybody's top 5. Now, I was going to take out the obvious ones. But I just love this because everybody loves Brian. It's Life of Brian. Now, as you can tell, I am from the British Isles. So we were brought up with Monty Python. At least I was. Loved it. So this... Grain Campbell in this, Chapman, is absolutely brilliant. You have all the rest, but he is brilliant as Brian. So, yeah, I know back when it first came out, everybody, oh no, you can't have it because it's taking the piss out of, religion and all that. But it's not. It's trying to, I would say, more of, yeah, it does, but, you can be religious and you can have a bit of fun and have a laugh about it at the same time. So it's kind of things. I like the parallel kind of story about, Jesus in this. It's brilliant. But It's got some quirky bits. They again haven't taken themselves seriously. They haven't an alien abduction in it. There you go. Everybody forgets about that, and when you watch it again, you're like, oh yeah, that's just random. Yeah. So Brian gets taken, yeah, in a spacecraft for a little ride, just for a little bit, But this is brilliant. It's Terry Jones is really well directed. Everybody in it is great. It has such great comedy moments that people still refer to. It's you just take the piss. That's the best way about Brian as Nazareth. And yeah, it's great. I love the bit like when the wise men and they're like, oh, and he's like, his name, what are you calling him? Brian. And they're like, oh, and then she, ooh. And then they do, nope, wrong one, and take all the gifts back. I think it's brilliant. It's so like Christian of them. It's so funny, and it's literally those kind of moments just make this. And yeah, you can reference, and you're gonna get all the memes, and you got all the quotes. I'm not gonna go through them because this is I think it would be on most people's lists. Yeah, so it's a hilarious bit of fun. So yeah, Life of Brian. Now the next one, it's. This is from the 70s. Yeah, and this is probably my age group know it very, very well, because your parents kind of passed it on to you, or your uncles or whatever, from that kind of, into the 80s. Watch this. You're gonna absolutely love it and absolutely piss yourself for laughter. But the modern age group, literally, I was asking my niece, never heard of it. I was like, oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. So this is why this is on there, because it's Animal House. The horse scene just alone, or the you know what I mean. It just is brilliant. This is so funny, and it's got those actors, actresses of that age group. You're like, well, they just did it, didn't they? Like, and John Belushi. Hilarious on this, but there's he's the comedy genius in it, I suppose. But there's so many good bits. But yeah, the parade at the end, everything about this movie is just fun, and it just takes the Mickey out of that kind of sorority, kind of like house kind of things that you get in the Americas. But this, yeah, I put it up there. I wasn't going to put this one. I was like, it's too well known, and then I was like, you've never heard of it? You never what? I was like, no, go on. Just for if you want to sit down and really have a good laugh, Animal House. It is brilliant. Yeah, say it's a 70s movie. It's set in the 60s, so you kind of get those references, like the 60s kind of references. So that's really good. Of like, everything's changing slightly. But it's brilliant. It's how the Animal House, of course, they're like the misfits. They're the troublemakers on campus. So that's it. But yeah, another one just absolutely hilarious. So yeah, Animal House, yeah, is on there. Now my next one, this came in the last moment. This one did, because I was talking to Sandy, and Sandy kind of, without saying it, because she didn't know the movie, I persuaded myself to put this on because I forgot how much I love this movie. Yeah, and it's from the 1940s, and it's Passport to Pimlico. Yes. Now, this, I loved. It's quirky. So, it's set after the Second World War. Yeah, and the whole storyline is very, very quickly. There is an unexploded, ordnance. Yeah, they find. But they find this old treaty in I think it's like a box or like a suitcase. And in it gives the people of Pimlico their independence if they have the ruler of some Burgundy. I can't remember if he's a lord or whatever. This old kind of, they find the bloodline, blah, 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 and they get their independence. And it's about how that would work if, a kind of, not even a London, I can't call it a borough, it's like a little place in London. I'm looking at Pimlico. would have their independence. And it's funny, like, people just try and take advantage of it, but it's just that hilarity and fun loving movie, you know, coming out of war-torn London. And like, oh, it is really good. Like, Stanley Holloway is in it, and he's brilliant. He's so funny, and it's just one of those ones you can sit, and it's just a lovable movie that will make you laugh. So it's, yeah, this is probably my most nostalgic one, because, you know, sitting down with your granddad, you know, and watching this, or it came on, you know, matinee Sundays and all like that. But Passport to Pimlico, it is a classic, a British classic. So yeah, this, every time I talk about this movie, it's brilliant. I love this movie. It makes me want to go and watch it. So I did, and I don't want to give anything away, but it's, you know, it's not gonna have like those weird spoilers or whatever like that. You don't really need it, because it's just a fun loving, yeah, it's just hilarity. It's just a laugh a minute. Yeah, so yeah, Passport to Pimlico. Yeah, love it, love it, love it. Now, this one, next one, the subject matter, the person of the subject matter, I've sung twice, and I didn't realise. Now, this one is an early 40s, and it's probably going to be on most people's list. And if you've seen it, I don't need to explain it, because it's The Great Dictator. Charlie Chaplin's taking the mickey out of somebody. I don't know who. But this is brilliant. It's that kind of, like, the acting without acting is just like the little quirk, and then the over the top kind of moments. It's brilliant. It is so funny. Every moment in this is so funny. Now, I could have picked a lot of Chaplins, but this one I just loved. I was like that. It takes you really over, you know, the speeches in it when it goes over the top, and you're like, we know who you are taking the mickey out of, you know, and it's so great. I would have to look up the actual name. It's got, like, It's Near Enough Anolf, but it's not. And it's so funny. And, like, it's, yeah. This one is, yeah, it's probably a bit obvious, but for that era, but it is a great one. It is. So, yeah, it's some great overacting, some silent kind of, because you got that, like, moments where they're not acting but acting. It's great. So yeah, if you want like adjuster, you're taking the Mickey one. Yeah, this is it. The Great Dictator. I'm not going to go into it one, because I think most people have seen it, things. But the next one is probably, I'm going to have to say, one of my top 5 movies of any genre. Any genre. Because it's just lovable. It's just a great Ealing comedy classic. The Man in the White Suit. Alex Guinness. Very young Alex Guinness. Now, this is 1950s. Yeah. Oh, I can't tell you how much I love this. This, if it does, I will rewind it and watch it again. Watch it, rewind. I just think this is absolutely brilliant. So the concept is there, I suppose, an aspiring scientist kind of gets into, like, I don't think they say where it is, but it's like Middle England, yeah, you know. So he gets wants to get, you know, the industrial bug. Yeah, I'm gonna do something amazing, and he invents a liquid, yeah, that you can then twine, and it makes clean clothes. Makes your clothes, you can't get them dirty. So the Man in the White Suit. And it all goes a bit wrong, let's say. So it's the event, like, the story seems very simple, I must say, but it's that from the beginning, getting there, finding the mishaps, kind of a couple of explosions, but mishaps, explosions, very great comedy telling, everybody going, oh, this is going to make us money, and then the realization of the people he's actually trying to help. He's got a good story. He's actually going to really affect them because of what he's doing. And then at the end, If you've never seen this, I won't spoil it, but it's a bit of a fun moment. So yeah, it's all about that kind of like big business boom. They want that next thing because what they're trying to make the money. But this is a great Ealing comedy classic. Everybody in it is great, and they're 100% really, really funny moments. But the story is a sensible story. It's a tale of what that kind of boom in England was, with all the industrial kind of mill things at that time. So it's really, really, really great. I cannot tell you how much I loved it. This would be, for me, I never give anything tens. This is like a 9 out of 10 for me. I love it. It's got kind of just comedy genius from Alex Guinness. It's just like the timings, everything. Yeah, it's a great story, and it leads into a great movie. So if you had to watch one on my list, only one, this is it. This is the one I love the most out of all these lists. Okay, next one is again the subject matter. Because you've seen him before. No, it was a piss take and he wasn't referred to. This one he is referred to heavily. Yeah, and it is The Producers. Yes. G Wild. Yes. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. If you've seen it, you know that's it. What can I say? It's a very bizarre concept that is done really, really well. So it's an accountancy fix of a producer wants to kind of oversell the product to get money to make show bankrupt. So they got an idea. It's the best way to do it is do the worst play of all time. Yeah, and so they get the script, and yeah, he's one of those, but it's over the top. It's everything great of over the top of the production of the producers of the actual stage show when they do it is brilliant because it's so over the top bad. Of course, even in that, it makes you love it even more. And it's kind of when the realization is they know it's a hit because everybody thinks it's a comedy and they've made it so bad it's turned into a comedy. Now you could even take into it the person who plays Adolf Hitler is kind of mimicking Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator. So yeah, it's brilliant. I love that. Now there is some non-funny moments where they've gone over the top funny and yeah, the things, but the rest of it is a brilliant kind of, you could even class this because of the over singing and Springtime for Hitler. And he's just like that. What are you talking about? If you've never seen it and you're like, why you keep saying Springtime to Hitler? It's literally the most catchiest, stupidest song ever. But it will make you smile, especially when they're doing the kind of dance with it and everything like that. It is brilliant. And it's just that moment of realization in the again with the crowd, the kind of when they're mimicking and watching the stage. But it's things. But yeah, it's how things could go awry and a bit wrong. So it has a great things like, but yeah, this one is a good one. Now, the next one I believe is my earliest movie, or must be maybe one more might just by months it must be. Now, this one, the two main stars in it aren't the star of it because it gets kind of overshine. They both do because they're not really in it that much because they're ghosts, and it's Topper, Cary Grant's Topper. Yeah, I wouldn't call this a Cary Grant. He's the star. You can't overly that thing. But Roland Young, who plays Topper in it, is brilliant. Now this is, if you look and you watch this, is how, you know, like Weekend at Bernie's kind of got done. All those kind of, you know, 80s kind of classic. Heavily influenced by this kind of thing. And you have Topper's Return, what is a very good one as well. But this is funny. Now, very simple concept. Over the top, Grant and his wife, they die in a car crash. Yeah, because they're like, you know, they're always out partying, always drink, and yeah, and they die. Yeah, and then the car Topper buys, and he kind of comes across where they actually died. Yeah, and then they emerge as ghosts. But they kind of just play for that short period of things, havoc with him. You know, get him to kind of be, you know, I suppose more of a like, you know, don't be such a softie. Be a bit of a more of a man. You know, do what you're supposed to do. You know, and it's just those comedy moments of, you know, say, like when they're not there as, you know, we know they're not there because they're supposed to be portraying ghosts, but that movements of Topper, of like when he's supposed to be like, you know, he's getting manhandled by him and he's getting pushed and all of that, and how he's literally doing the comedy delivery without the two main stars there. He's like, you forget that, yeah, he's not the on the bill, I suppose you would call it, but he is the main comedy moment. So this is yet a 1930s one, and I love this. I love it. Now, yeah, it might be tame to today's comedy, or even 40 years ago to them comedies, but this is a comedy adventure, let's call it, because it is a bit quirky, it's a bit silly because of the ghost, but it is a classic, and it's just, I do love it. I do like it, and I saw it recently, and you can find it most places, you know, because of the age. So go and watch the full things. It's not a long movie, and it's a fun movie. It's one. Again, I keep saying fun because this is actually fun. This is actually, you can just sit down and love it. You know, it's just there to give you a bit of escape and a bit of fun. Okay, next. Only two to go. Now, this might be an obvious one, maybe not. I don't actually know. Now, this is you like, if you're scoring it anything like above an 8, it's right. Now, this is an 80s movie, and I think it's obvious. Maybe not. Trading Places? Don't know why I went high pitch there, but yes. So Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, a kind of switcheroo, let's call it. So yeah, the very quick concept. Dan Aykroyd's got the money. He works in the stocks, I suppose, easy thing, and then they swap him out with I suppose you would call like Eddie Murphy's character, kind of like a con artist on the streets, not doing that well, and they go, what could we do to swap? So you have the Duke brothers, who are brilliant in this, who kind of try and manipulate the market, yeah? And it's Billy Ray Valentine and Louis Whitthorpe, isn't it? The third, yeah? And it's got that, and it's, you know, it's got a young Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, it's just funny. So it's kind of like, it's got an underlying kind of weird, like not weird, but kind of like with the stock exchange like built into it. And it's funny how they kind of go, you know, that the rich can go downtrodden very, very quickly because they don't actually know how to survive in life without, you know, just surviving on the money or where they came from. And then Eddie Murphy's character is when he gets up there on his noggin, and then he realizes that they actually did it to just kind of like a bit of a bet to see what actually was going on. So it's good like that. And then of course the Duke brothers get their comeuppance, and it's that kind of, again, I would say that, yeah, a comedy adventure. It's because it's that like path of how they can, you know, Dan Aykroyd's character is down in the dumps of how he kind of pushes back forward to get his kind of revenge, and then they all do it, and it's brilliant. Now, yeah, Duke brothers are brilliant in this. The Christmas weird scene, I love it, with Dan Aykroyd. He's like a very drunk Santa Claus, and he's got the big fish. It's like that, but there are really, really funny moments. So yeah, it's a, you could class this as maybe a Christmas movie. Maybe very, but it's not. But yeah, it's a great one. I would say it's a very comedy 80s classic. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis in it is brilliant. Everybody is really brilliant because it's just that, yeah, how, because you got money, you can really F somebody over. But then, yeah, the comedy elements to get their revenge, yeah, is absolutely brilliant. And if you've seen the gorilla bit, you understand what I mean. Gorillas on the train must be avoided. Okay, so last, it's another 30s one. Now, before I do this one, there is loads, and this is my favourite out of this duo's, I suppose, comedy geniuses they are. But there is two things in this that I absolutely, you must go and watch. There is two scenes that are just brilliant. Now, it's again, I love this because it's so funnily shot. It's the best way to do it because they have a lot of backdrops that are blatantly they're not there, and of course the way they dress, they shouldn't be in the setting what they are in, and it is way out west. Laurel and Hardy. I love this. So the two scenes is there's the dance scene. Yeah, you've got the cowboys doing the tune like in things, and they do this, and it's a classic. Once if you might not have remembered it from this, but if you've never seen the movie, you should have seen the scene. And the other one is the Trail of the Lonesome Pine. What a classic. What's that? So what, the Blue Mountains of Virginia. Yeah. That song, how that is done is absolutely mwah. It is brilliant. It makes this movie, and it probably makes this movie better. You could have picked a lot of Laurel Hardy, but I could have because I love them. But because of those two scenes, they just go boom. Yeah, things, and it's a great one because it's another silly one from them. Yeah, is this? It's the Old West and the way they are. You know, yeah, bowler hats. Yeah, in the West, but how they're dressed is brilliant. And yeah, they're literally on form. Literally, yeah, they are perfect. I love Laurel and Hardy. It is probably a nostalgic one for me, but it's just funny. You know, they're like, yeah, the comedy elements they do are very on point to previous movies, you know, like they've done. But this, I think, for the setting, you know, I love westerns, and you know the deliveries, especially with the dance, what's iconic dance, and yeah, the songs in it is just brilliant. So it's all good round laughter with Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, if you've never seen a Laurel and Hardy movie, yeah, just pick any and you'll laugh. But this is, yeah, because of just those moments, I had to put this as my number one. Yeah, because it's a great story. It's a lovable, laugh a minute kind of story, but it has iconic moments, you know, about this. So yeah, it's the best way to do it is prospecting miners town on the Old West. Laurel Hardy shouldn't be there, but there's, you know, going to the saloon moments outside and it's things, but there's the backdrops. It's like they must have like shot a western and then they just kind of like, yeah, but put you kind of in front a lot of the time, and it's just so obviously they're not there, but it's just, you can just, because it's so written so well with the comedy moments, you just don't care. It's brilliant. So yes, those are my 10. I know I could have had more, but yes, it was a fun ride to do these. Just even looking out, it makes me go and want to watch them. But I did have, and I said some honourable mentions. It's like that, you know, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, had some Blazing Saddles. Didn't make my list. A lot of people would have that as, you know, up there, but just missed out. You know, a newer one, The Big Lebowski. I love that. You know, Young Frankenstein. What is it? The Man with Two Brains. Just say See No Evil, Hear No Evil. You could even put Planes, Trains and Automobiles. It's got funny moments. It's good up there. You got some, you know, Mrs. Doubtfire and things like that. You know, we got all these ones. You know, I kind of missed off. You know, Modern Times. Oh, very hard to take that off the list. You could even Beetlejuice. You know, it's all there. But yeah, they just slid out, and these ones had to go in. But a lot of them, I said, what ones I thought they were givens. You know, that people go, you know, I've seen that. Don't need to be on the list. But yeah, I was quite surprised. That 20 age group. What are you talking about? Never heard of it. You know. So yeah, that's your talking point. Is what. Oh, there's going to be some great ones, and I know that's not on the list, but they're the ones recommend. They're the ones that you should go and watch it. And if you'd say take away the Man in the White Suit, go and watch it if you've not watched it. Then yeah, it's yeah. So those are the ones. But I want to know what you think. Could you? Yeah. Why didn't you put Blazing Saddles in there? Oh, you know, a lot of people will go, ooh. But yeah, I'm thinking that's maybe a bit too obvious. So that's it. But yeah, I wanted. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, just thinking about it makes put a smile on the face. So go and watch. Even go and watch your most favourite comedy. We need laughter at the moment. Laughter. Not enough fun at the moment, you know, around the world. So go and do it. I've loved. This is probably my favourite one to do at the moment because there were so many, and it was just like wow. But yeah, give us your thoughts, give us your comments, give us your list. You know, even if it's your top 2, even if it's like, oh, this one was only 2 years ago, but it made me laugh. You know, there are some weird ones you're gonna, even if you're like Freddy Gets Fingered, you know, or whatever, or Road Trip, those kind of ones. You know, American Pie, might have loved those, but those were my recommendations. But yeah, so give us a comments and give us a like if you want to like. And as always, Stasis Geek.